To continue on the theme of China, we would now like to invite Mr. Nian Wu, Chairman of Suzhou Good Arc Electronics Limited, to address the symposium on the subject of applying Chinese traditional family culture into modern entrepreneurship. Mr. Nian Wu.
尊敬的各位部长、
Distinguished ministers, ambassadors,
各位大的朋友们，
friends, good afternoon to you all.
我今天汇报的题目是
Today I'm
生
speaking
前教育
on
幸福企业。
from the teachings of the sages to the building of a happy enterprise. How do we use the ancient culture of China into the running of an enterprise?
大家知道，
As is well known,
美国的911
after the
的地震，
9/11 and after the
地
earthquake
球母亲的
in Nepal
血液的污染，
and the pollution
青少年的犯罪的
of
提升，
our environment, the
离婚率的提升，
increasing rate of divorce and youth
6000多万的
criminals, and more than 60 million of children left behind in the countryside, as well as the administrative costs is rising in
还有
China,
我们
the rising pollution
二代传承
in
的
Beijing, as well as the problems
这些
for the
对于我们的
second generation, the new generation.
关系。
How are they related
我们的
to
回答是
the management of an enterprise?
因为
Our response is affirmative, is positive, because right from the beginning
跟
until
我们所
Professor
讲的课
Liu, every speaker
都说到，
has spoken
这个世界是一体的。
on the unity, the oneness of our world. All these problems that I mentioned,
为什么说与企业有关？
how are they related to the
如果说
management
一个
of a
上
company?
班前还在与
Let's
他的
imagine
另一半
one
有
point
要离婚的，
that
然
if
后
a
他来上班的
company
时候，
executive
他能够
had a quarrel
做出
with
好
his
的产品吗？
spouse, they are clamoring, they all want a divorce. How would he
他会真心的
pay
他的上
his
司。
efforts in running the
所
company?
以这些问题的
All this, the
所
emergence
有的自
of
然灾
these
害也好，
problems,
还是
whether
我们所有的事物
natural disasters or
大家
man-made
都
social
大致地
ills,
通过今天上午的讨论，
we have heard through the discussion this morning that they are all related to the mind. In other words, related to education, the teachings of the
人
sages
的教育没有
and the saints
在我们企业当中去落实。
are not implemented in our modern day enterprises, in our family, or in our
那
schools.
么这些问题的出现，
The
如何
emergence
来弥补？
of these problems,
大家也知道，一个孩子
how would we find a solution to these emerging problems?
到
We all
从学校
know that
毕
a
业
child,
到企业，
from his
有的离开了
graduation
家庭
from school to
到
his
另外一
employment
个城市去工作，
in an enterprise
这样的
in
孩子
another city.
的教育靠什么？
How would
靠
we
企业来完成。
educate this child? I think one important element is the education provided by his employer,
从圣贤的教育
his company, so that 5 years ago we have adopted the teachings of ancient culture,
得到了一
the
些
teachings
初步的体会。
teachings of
今
sages
天呢，我们在这里
into
给予大
the
家汇报。
operation in the
那么
management of
在
our
汇报
company.
当中，
In my
我们
presentation
所取得的
on
一点
this
点小
point,
的成绩呢，
the little
是归
achievement
功于
that we
先
made
贤的教导和老祖宗的智慧，
has
三
to
宝的
be
加持，师
given
长的
to
指
the
导。而现在
merits
的问题呢，
of the ancient sages. Of course, we do
我们
encounter
自身的问题，
many
自
problems,
身
problems that we created
学习圣贤
ourselves
教育在具体落实在企业当中的时候，
that
自己的贪心和自己
our
真
greed
心学习
and
不够。
our inability to
那么古老的智
learn
慧如何在
from
现
the
代企业当中落实
ancient
它的难点
sages.
在哪里？
What are the difficulties of applying ancient education in the
就是解决一个
company?
相信的问题，
The
很
problem
多的
is trust.
现在的人，尤其是青少年，他不相信
Many people, especially the
圣
youth,
贤的教育
do not
能
believe
够给人们带
in
来幸福。
the teachings of sages, do not believe that such education could bring
觉
them
得首先要解决一
happiness,
个
so that
信任的问题，
we think the first thing to be tackled is the issue of trust. How do we build trust?
人文关怀开始，
And we should start
也
with
就是我们把
humanistic
我
care.
们的雇着的员工
In
都
other
看
words,
成是自己的家人，
We should treat
无论
all
是
personnel as
怀孕的
family members,
孕妇、
whether
妈妈、
they are pregnant female
留
employees
守儿童的教育，
or whether for the
无
education
论是孩子从
of children left behind in the countryside,
小学到
whether
高中的
in
他们
the
的学费的
education,
助，
the
无论
subsidies
是他们
of school fees for
母亲
school
关
children,
怀，还是
parental
长辈
care,
的老人的黄金老人的关爱等等，
or the care
这些
for
都
the
是
elderly,
我
all
们这
this
个家里边所要关心的。
are to be
把
taken
员
care of
工看成是家人，
by our enterprise,
家里
treating
边最
personnel
重要的是
as family members. What is the most
当我
important
们
thing for
把
a
信
family
交给员
is
工的时候，
education.
员工就会信任你。
If
我们才可以
we trust
到
our employees, it
我们
would be
的
the same
圣贤教育。
from the other
所以待
side,
会呢，
from the
我们
personnel.
汇报的时候，
So in my
从几个方面来汇报。
presentation, I will speak from a different points of view.
我们讲，这是我们习总书记提出来的中国梦想实
President
现
Xi put forward the idea of a Chinese dream.
实现。
How do
作为企业
we
家
attain
他
such
应
a
该去
dream?
怎么思考？
As an entrepreneur, as the leader
把中
of
国
a
梦的企业篇章写好。
company, how do
这是一
we
个我们作为企业
complete
家应该去思考的。
this chapter
所
in
以，我们讲
at the company's
真正要做好
level?
最重要的就是要把
The most important
真正
thing
的中国的传统文化
for
能
us
够落实在企业。
is to
那么传统文
implement
化的学习
the teachings
最重要的
of the
是
sages
要把
in
自
the
己
running
先教育好，
of an enterprise.
就是我们
Firstly, we have to
教育
educate
自己
ourselves
化人管理最重要的问题
and to take care of the most important issue in management. And only in educating ourselves could we transform others.
给我们的
Traditional culture
教育是一种内学，也就是说，我们如何修身齐家
encourages
平天下。
to seek knowledge
我们会
and
当
to
我们
manage family
看
and to
到
practice good
北京
governance.
的雾霾的时候，
When we look at the
作
pollution
为管理者本身，
in Beijing,
作为我自己，
as a
先
manager,
要带头做，并
as
不
a
是说这个事情
administrator, I have to set an example. I cannot say that this is a problem
这是跟我们
only
每个人都有关系，
found
所以我
in
要带
Beijing.
头做。
I would lead
我的
activities
我们是
in this
每一
area.
个有私家车的人，
every driver
每周要少开一天私家车，
should
用自
refrain
行的方式
from
到
driving
公司。那么像我的话，
a
就要
day in a week and to adopt low carbon
用
transport
这个
to go to offices.
住在工
Myself,
厂
I set an example
省少开
in
一
this
天一个来。
and I would refrain from driving for at least a
然后
day
住在工厂
in a
有
week
很好的一区，这里可以跟员工进行交流，
in our
半
plants,
夜还
I
可以跟员工进行
live
夜餐沟通会，
in
然后早
the
晨起来，
accommodation blocks of the factory, enabling
对
me
我们的
to communicate better
公司进行
with the
打扫
personnel
最
and
多的时候
to join
一个早
in
晨
group
可以清
activities
扫
in cleaning up
卫生间。
the offices, the toilets.
所以
I've taken part
我们讲
myself in these activities.
要别人做到的，自己先要做到。
We have to set an example
化人
to transform other people
所
with
以
setting a
如何
personal
真正要把
example.
企业做好，然后怎么样真正来
How do
落
we
实
build
传统
a
文化
successful
在企业当中
enterprise?
落实
How do we
待会呢
implement ancient
效应
teachings
我会想
in the enterprise?
我们的
I would
副总经理
later on
古美君女士
ask
来
Ms.
跟大家
Kong, our
来
Deputy
做报告。
General Manager, to give you a specific presentation on this issue.
这是我们的企业价值观。
This
我们的
is
企业价值观
our
是
core
企业价值
values
在员工的幸福
for
和客户的感动。
enterprise. This is
那么办企业的
to
目的
put emphasis on the well-being of the personnel and the satisfaction
但
of
是我们的老
customers.
祖宗告诉我们，
Many people think that a company is to make profit, but the ancients
如
have
果让当员工
already
幸福了，
taught us that
企业才能够
firstly
我们的
we have
经
to
济才
let
会
the
幸福
personnel to
产
feel
品才会
happy. Then only could we
众生
produce
才会幸福
high quality
然后我们的客
products.
户才会感动。
Then only could we move, could we touch
好，下
our
面呢
customers.
我就请
Next,
我们的
I will now
副总经理古
ask
美君女士来进行
our
报告
Deputy General Manager, Ms. Kong, to continue the presentation.
尊敬的各位部长、各位大使、
Respectable ministers, ambassadors,
各位大德、
reverends,
女士们、先生们，
ladies
接下来
and
呢，就用
gentlemen,
比较简短的
I would
来向各位报告
briefly
苏州固德在过去这5
present
年
to
来
you
在幸福企业典
how
范创建的
our company
一些
in the
点
past
点滴滴。
5 years
刚才呢，我们
have
的董事
run
长
our
林永博董
enterprise.
事长有概要
Mr.
地
Hu,
来
our CEO,
一些阐述。
has
那么我们
described
在
in the
这
broad lines
5年来
of
呢，
how
是把
the
中国传
company
统的家文化
is
予以
run.
企业
In the
当中
past
来落
5 years,
实。
we applied the values of a family education
习主席
within
提出的中
our
国梦
company.
那么在
The
5
China
年来
Dream
苏州
proposed
固德所
by
进行的
President
幸福
Xi
企业的典范创建，
as our
就是在进
CEO
行我们
has
中国梦的一个
said
企业
that
篇章的一个
we are
贡献。
actually doing this part
在
of
过
the
去这5
dream
年来，
at
我
our
们在
level
苏州固德
in the
在我们的
past
企业当
5
中
years.
进行
Our
幸福企业8大模块的一个典范
Good
创建。那么它当中
enterprise
就包含了
has 8 modules in the
人文教
operation
育
of the
绿色环保、
enterprise.
健康促进、
Green
慈善
environment,
公益、
health,
事工拓展、
public
人文
interest,
记录、
charity
人文敬奋。我们在 PPT 当中可以看到，
In the
我们的关怀
PowerPoints,
有非常多项的一些
you
关
could
怀的措
see
施，
that
包含员工
many
本人、员
items
工的
of
子女、
care
员工的
for
父
the
母。
personnel,
那么不管是
for
他
his
生病
children,
有
his
疾病
parents,
还是在日
whoever
常的
has
这个
difficulties
生产和管理当
or
中，只要遇
is
到问
sick,
题，那么公司
whatever the
都会
problem
给予
is,
他
the
必要的
company
一个关怀和帮助。
would
那
provide
么
care
人文教育
and
是幸福企
assistance.
业的一个根本。
Education
那么我们后面
is
会
an
做一个
important
重点的一个报告。
element. We will come
再
back
来
to
是
this
绿
point
色环保，
later on.
在我们的企业，
And
我们非常的重
environmental
视绿色低
protection,
碳，所以我们
which
所
we
有的
lay
设计、
emphasis
制
on
造、
all our
采
design
购和
of the
销售
products,
都是
all
秉
our
持一个
purchase
自居的一个运
are
营理念。
centered
同
on
时，我们
this
在公司也
concept.
倡导健康的
In
一个
the
低碳环保的一个生
company,
活方式。
we are
就像刚才吴总
encouraging
所提到的那
a
样，
low
每一个
carbon
有车的负责员
lifestyle.
工，我
As
们至少
our
有
CEO
1天
has
的时间
said that
要少花1
every
天车，这
employee
一天呢搭乘
would
公共交
refrain
通系统
from
来
driving
减
at least
少这个
one
碳
day
排放。
in a week
然后再来
so
呢，
as to
我们尽量
reduce
减少一次性物
emission
品的使用，
and
同时
to
我们也
reduce
会教
the
会
the use of many consumable products and to encourage the neighborhood people to generate less rubbish. We also encourage a healthy lifestyle. We have a medical service and providing preventive measures. In 2013, we have founded a foundation to take care of children left behind in the countryside. This is part of the social responsibility.
Because we consider that every free person living in the world should care about the vulnerable groups. So these are humanistic care, humanistic education, green enterprise, health maintenance, and philanthropy. In these 5 fields, we need people to do all these things. Who are doing it? Most of them are volunteers. 80% of our employees are volunteers, and we have volunteer programs to train them. And we often take pictures, videos, films to record the deeds and the things that our volunteers have done. So we have humanistic documentation. And then if other people, other companies want to learn from our experience, we are willing to share our experience, our documentation. And the 8th field of our work is moral responsibilities. Here, what we mean is every person should fulfill his or her responsibilities, being a good father, good mother, good child, good employee. We encourage everyone to play his or her role in society and be a happy person. We encourage every person to respect and care for people and things around us. Now, let me explain in details of these fields that I mentioned. Now, you can see on the slide there is a tree, and this tree shows very clearly the relationship between these 8 fields. To bear fruits, a tree needs deep roots, and here the deep roots are the humanistic education. And we talked about humanistic education. The speakers before me talked about morality education, education about family values, and only when our employees uphold this morality, these values, would they devote themselves to their companies. And then we have leaves and branches, and this refer to humanistic care. The employees care about each other. The managers care about employees, their subordinates. At lunchtime, at dinner time, we will have communication among all employees to hear the voices of employees if our employees are sick or if they have some crisis in their lives. Our CEO is always there to talk to them, to help them. And we uphold the value of filial piety. To achieve this, we encourage our employees coming from countryside or coming from other cities to call their parents, to talk to them, to, in a way, report to their parents how their lives are and how the work is going. And we always say that in our company, women are the most valued people, because if women are pregnant, for example, they have a lot of privileges. They can get off work earlier, and they can also receive free education about how to provide fetal education to their future children, and how to become a good mother in future. That's why our CEO decided that our female employees would receive education on how to become a virtuous lady. It teaches women how to become a good mother, how to be a good wife, how to treat your parents-in-law with respect and love. Of course, in nowadays, our female employees cannot stay home and take care of the elders, but they still should show respect to the elders and take care of family members. After our female employees graduate from this training program, they can apply for a 2-year paid holiday, during which time they can take care of their children and take care of their families. So you can see this is the pictures of our female employees. They are most of them are future mothers. They have had this education, and they have received tools from our CEO to learn all these lessons. And talking about humanistic care, there's also children, of course, because our children are often off school before our employees are off work. So we have a child care system to take care of our children, and to teach them many values, to teach them filial piety, to tell them it's important to respect parents, and to protect environment. You can see on this picture, this girl, she is from a composed family. This girl has a stepfather. She never called him dad. She always called him uncle. And last year, after he learned traditional morality, after he had been trained in these family values, he talked to the girl, and they had a different way of interaction. And then when we had this event, when we asked the children to come up stage and wash their parents' feet, they all kneeled down and washed the feet of their parents. And also at this event, this girl called his stepfather dad for the first time. Of course, this man, our employee, was very moved, and he was very happy, of course. Many of our employees have realized that they had a lot of weakness in the past in their understanding of filial piety, and they did benefit from our training program. And then the elders, because in our company we always teach our employees to respect their parents and parents-in-law, and all the parents of our employees who are over 80 years old will receive a bonus of 200 yen every month, because we want to teach our employees to be respectful, to care about their parents. And of course, we also want to extend this education to the whole society. And you can see on these pictures, we invited all the golden age elders to our company to participate in this event. And that our employees were there to wash the parents' feet. And you can see on the left in this picture, the man who was kneeling there is our CEO, Mr. Wu. He is very respectful to his mother, and he's leading by example. We always say parents are the best teachers for their children. You can see in this picture, the man in the picture is one of our employees. And in our company, most of our employees do this. They wash their parents' feet to show their respect, to care for their parents. And you can see here the man has his daughter behind him. And we are sure that the girl will grow up learning these values and this kind of behavior. Another action that we have taken is called care for left behind children in rural China, because in China there is many parents who have to leave countryside and work in coastal cities. They cannot go with their children. These children are left behind in rural areas in China. And they do not see each other that often because of economic reasons. Some parents will go back to countryside every 2 or 3 years. So they don't know each other that well. Many children know their parents by the pictures hung on walls. So you can see some statistics on the slide. In China, there is 58 million left behind children, and almost 80% of them are taken care of by their grandparents, and the rest of them do not have steady guardians. They are in hands of different people. In 2012, the CCTV2 made a film. You can see that. These children are very special. I haven't seen my parents for 6 years. I'm going to school with my brother. There is 60 million of them. Why don't my parents come back? I hate my parents, but I love them too. Daddy, Mom. So you can see this is the cry of 58 million children. So to do a little for these children, we decided to forward a questionnaire to all of them. We asked them what they worry about the most about their children left behind. And we also asked them what the company can do for them. And they replied that they are worried about the safety of their children, and they want to have more holidays so that they can spend some time with their children. That's why in our company, those employees who are away from their hometowns have paid holidays every year to go back home 3 times a year, and of course their trips are paid by the company. So our vision, the vision of our foundation is to make these left behind children happy children. Since 2012, we stopped a new system where our employees do not have to report when they arrive at the work or when they leave work. They have all the trust from the company, from the management. Because we want to see if our employees, after all this education, after all this training, if they have gained all the values that we want to teach them, and we have seen that we have achieved our goal. Now they do have our trust. They have learned to manage, to govern themselves, and they are honest.
他们在学习之后呢，也懂得要去疼惜自己的员工，所以他们组成了一个爱心车队，来接送。
Some of our employees at the management level care a lot about other employees. For example, some of them, when they have cars or when they have an easy access to public transport, they help out others. They drive other employees, or they will step in to work for others when others cannot make the trip on time. Well, in Analects, there is this saying, when a leader's personal conduct is upright, his government is effective without the issuing of orders. If his personal conduct is not upright, he may issue orders, but they will not be followed by. And this applies to companies. If a CEO is not integral if he doesn't behave properly and lead by models, his employees will not behave properly. So you can see through all this education and training, we have achieved a lot of results, and of course it's because most of the time our CEO is behaving properly and in a very upright manner. Education is foremost in building a country and in governing a people. That's why in our company, when we talk about humanistic education, we don't train our employees with skills and technical aspects. We are more into ethics, morality, and causality. You can see this is a picture from 2014. We started this morality and ethics conference in 2012. But the picture you see here is a picture from 2014. We have an auditorium in the company, and we invited some important people, experts, to talk about morality. And we also have CDs or films which we have put online, so everybody can consult anytime they want. So what do we learn at this conference? We teach our employees to be a good daughter and a son, to be a good daughter-in-law, a good son-in-law, and we hope they become good wives, good husbands, good parents. Because only when a person play his or her role in family can he or she become a good employee or good manager. But of course, we also hope our employees can become a good person in society, contributing to the well-being of society. We ask them to live a low-carbon lifestyle. We ask them to become a role model in society. These pictures are from 2014. We had 10 training sessions. Every training session lasted for 5 and a half days, and every training session had 500 trainees. They were there to listen to morality and traditional Chinese values and the culture. And we had a look at how they have changed. I'm here to confess. After learning, I realized that I wasn't kind to my mom. I'm really sorry. When I was living with her, I hated my mom because she was always there picking on me, pointing out my fault, my shortcomings. And I revenged by not talking to her for 15 days.
一个原来恨妈妈、讨厌妈妈的一个女孩子，学习完之后，
So you can see this girl, she hated her mother before the training session, and after the training session, she said she would go back to her mother's place and cook for her and wash her feet. So I don't think our employees are bad seeds. It's just that they didn't have the right education.
In conclusion, so how to see if education works? If our employees get this training, if they know how to train pain to happiness or evil to good, delusion to awareness, we can say the training works. For example, we have an employee who likes to fish. Before taking this training, every Sunday he went to suburb, a river, to fish, no matter what kind of weather it was. And after the training, he realized that this is not the best way to use his leisure time. And then he stopped fishing regularly, and instead he called upon his friends who he went on fishing with. Actually, he let go fishes into the river. And another example, there are some employees who have good cars, and after training, some employees said they would have wanted to change their car for a better car. But after the training, they realized that these are just illusion and delusion. So they decided not to change their car. Instead, they used their money on their children's education and on their parents. Secondly, if we can simplify complexity and transform indifference into compassion, then the training has worked. For example, we don't need systems or mechanisms to force this education on children, because they know how to manage themselves. They know how to manage their life. They treat this workplace as their home. After the training, many employees decided to abandon bad life habits. For example, they stopped smoking, drinking, gaming, etc., etc. And many employees even stopped eating meat. So, in order to protect the environment, other employees realized after the training that communication between different departments of the company should not be only through electronic means. Actually, employees from 5 departments, they come together in person to reinforce their communication efficiency. Here, I'd like to give you an example, a concrete example. It's about this device, this machine.
97年
This machine
作为一个二手设备到
is a second-hand machine manufactured in 1989. So when we acquired it, it was already a second-hand machine. In 2013, until 2013, it had worked quite well, but with failures. And then in 2013, we decided to change the machine. And at the first training of 2013, Mr. Wu told us that we have to have respect for everything, including this machine. For example, your table, your mic, or everything surrounding you, and everyone surrounding you. You should have respect for them. And then, after listening to what Mr. Wu said, these employees went back to their workshop and they just dismembered this machine and checked each part by part for more than dozens of hours. And they found why it didn't work, and they recombined the machine, and then this machine could be used like it was 1907. So before this incident, we didn't treat the machine like our kid, like parents don't care kids when they are sick. So they realize this, they say sorry to the machine. That's what you can see on the picture. And here is another example. This is during Chinese New Year. As you know, a new machine needs 5 days of decommissioning when it comes to our machine, our factory. But this time around, we have this 24-hour service for this new machine. It's like filial piety 24/7. You have to respect and treat your parents well 24/7, and not only when you see them. By the same token, we treated this new machine with the same care, and the decommissioning period was only 36 hours. Another example is the 5S program in our company. This employee designed by him or herself a cleaning device. He or she had to lie down to clean the machine. As you know, many entrepreneurs came to visit our company, and many of them, after visit, asked me for this picture in particular. They want to show this to their own employees, to show them they have to have the same care for every machine in the company, in the factory. And this particular employee protect this machine like his own or her own eyes. But this is out of his or her own initiative. We didn't tell her or him to do so. Not at all. We just said, if possible, you can treat this machine as your kid. If possible, you can treat this as your eye. That's what we said, and nothing more. So, can you lie down, can you as a manager lie down and clean your machine or clean the floor? Mr. Wu, as you know, our floor is very clean, but we don't have many cleaning ladies. That's because everyone, like Mr. Wu, cleans regularly out of his own or her own initiative the company. And in the past years, many people ask us, why do you spend so much time, so much money on these training? Here I can give you some concrete figures to show why. For example, in terms of efficiency, yield rate, gross profit, they all went up, but plans from customers went down ever since we carried out this training. Here you can also see the per capita output at Suzhou Good Arc. As Mr. Wu said, when an employee realizes the thing, they will do everything automatically. Here is another example. This is the so-called happy farm, which grows vegetables for our employees. We use an ancient plot system from Zhou dynasty, like 2,000 years ago. For example, the central plot is a public plot, and the 8 plots around are private, which belong to each employee. But when you cultivate your private plot, you also have to help cultivating the public one. And what did our employees do? When employees went to tear off the weed, they discovered a group of rabbits, wild rabbits, and they realized that these rabbits can kill weeds, so we shouldn't disturb them. So they left. This is our factory, and around the factory, the wetland here is just next to our factory. And for the past 10 and 15 years, we did not put concrete or anything on it because Mr. Wu thinks you can have birds, rabbits, butterflies, bees here, and they are the owner of the wetland. Human beings should not do anything to them. And the other picture shows the grasslands just next to our factory. We also respect this grass. We didn't change anything. We let them grow in a word. We have 3 sites. Between each site, it takes 10 to 15 minutes by bicycle. And employees bought bicycles by themselves so as to reduce carbon within different sites, between different sites. Then I will talk about health maintenance within our company. Actually, this is a concept which was advocated by WHO in the 80s. Starting in the 80s. As you know, many people let doctors decide upon their health. But actually, there are 4 important factors for your health. First, genes. Second, your living environment or health system, healthcare system. And thirdly, which is most important, is your living habits, which accounts for 70% of your health. So we realized that we shouldn't go to doctor after we became sick. We should put more emphasis on prevention. This is also Chinese ancient wisdom. That's why we have this health maintenance program within our company, namely training classes, so that our employees can stay healthy. That's why in October 2013, we got this certificate, this reward from WHO. Many employees changed their living habits after taking this training. So we spend much less on healthcare. And 4 days in a week, we provide low-carbon meals in our company. If, for example, you don't eat meat for 1 day, as you may know, livestock farming accounts for a lot of CO2 in the world. So if we stop or we don't eat meat for 1 day, we can reduce 780 grams of CO2 per day. And in 2013, we planted more than 250,000 trees. It's a very conservative number, actually. Then, in terms of philanthropy and social responsibility, you can see here Mr. Wu with different employees pick garbage on the street. And here you can see employees put winter clothes on trees during winter. Because some people don't protect public goods such as trees. That's why we did that. Last year, our employees automatically, out of our own initiative, cleaned public bicycle rental system in Suzhou. Every month, we went to different communities and neighborhoods around our factory to promote environmental protection. For example, used batteries should not be thrown anywhere, or things or garbage should be recycled and reused. When our employees want to be volunteers, they have to take training. For example, they have to know how to help others, how to be a good volunteer, how to be grateful, how to have empathy. For example, you should not be arrogant as a volunteer because you are giving people things. No, you shouldn't be arrogant because if you are, you might harm the very person you want to take care of. And pictures here show different trainings in 2004 and 2015, different trainings for volunteers. More than 87% of the employees signed up to these trainings to become a good volunteer from Good Ark. They treat different other people's parents as their own parents. They treat other people's kids as their own kids. The picture in the middle, in the upper middle, shows this lady. I always cry when I talk about her because she is an orphan. She was abandoned by her parents. She told me once that I used to hate my parents because I didn't know why they abandoned me. She said this in tears. And she, by her own self, went to this children's house, orphan house, to take care of these orphans, these poor kids. They might be disabled or they don't have. They are not valid, but we call them angels. This lady went to, when first time she went to the house, the orphans were quite hostile against them because they don't want to be disturbed by outsiders. But for whole 1 year, she and her team continued to care about these kids. They brought them out. They did cake for them. They did dumpling for them. And they changed these kids. They changed these orphans. Some were even mute. kids because nobody taught them to talk. Nobody talked with them. So after 1 year, when these orphans saw these ladies, they just fell into their bosom. They just held them and kissed them because they fell in love with these volunteers. And she also realized, she also reduced or eliminated her hatred towards her parents because they must have abandoned her for a reason, and she should not blame them even today. Similarly, in China, we work with Ministry of Education and People's Daily in this program in Guangxi Province, the city of Daxing. We try to bring filial piety education into this local school because there are 2,000 kids left behind by their parents here in this city. They also have had resentment towards their parents because their parents left them to work on the coast. So they had this resentment. But after our filial piety education, these kids changed their mind. They realized they didn't love their parents enough. Even though they are not here, even though parents are not here, they can also take care of their grandparents. They can also go to nursing homes to take care of these lonely old people there.
在苏州固德，吴董的一线的员工啊，叫吴董的是叫大家长。
Our company,
在幸福校园呢，吴董呢是所有孩子的爸爸，孩子们都叫他吴爸爸。所以，当我们给孩子们除了孝道教育之外，我们也会给他的一堂课程呢是环保爱地球，就是懂得把一些原以为要扔掉的东西啊，你可以再把它废物再利用。
on environmental protection to the community, so that children would pick up these waste papers and fold them into a toy and give it to Mr. Wu.
那么以上呢，莫学用比较简要的
These
时间来向各位报告了我们苏州
brief examples of what we did in the last 5 years.
那么接下来要跟各位报告的呢是来自各个国家的管理学者或者社会学者，
I would speak
去了苏州固德参观之后
on
的一
the
些
comments of
心得
visitors
和一些体会。
from abroad
这
after
是
visiting
韩国德鲁克协会
our
的荣誉
company.
主席，
This
还有
is
是
the
联合国的环境官员，同
honorary
时也是
president of a
新
Korean
办事委员长
enterprise,
文国宪先生。
Mr. Wen Guosing.
他在听完了苏州固德的
After
中国式管理之后，
Listening
他这样子讲
to the
苏
presentation
州固
on
德
the Chinese
吴董
style
所在进
management
行的这样的一
in
种
our
营运
company,
管理模式，
he said
不
that
仅能够解决
such a model
现
would
在的管理问题，
not
也可以
only
很好
resolve
地去预防
problems
应对
in the
未来
present
的危
day
机。
governance structure, it would
那么
also
这是
take
中国
care
的全
of
国政协
diffusing
副主席
future
我们的
crisis.
马培华主
Mr.
席，
Ma,
他在参
the
观完
Vice
苏州固德之
President
后，
of
他
our
有讲
parliament,
到
after his visit,
得民心者得天下，还
that
可以得未来。那么后
who
来，
wins
我们的
the
马副主席
trust
他也
and
邀请吴
confidence
董去参
of the
加全
population
国非国
will
际
win
性的
over
论坛。
the
他
country
希望呢能够把
and
这样的一种管理
the
模
whole
式啊
universe.
告知更
And
多的企业
Mr.
家
Ma,
来
after
共
visiting
同
us,
来践
has
行
expressed
中国式的一个管
the
理。
willingness to spread
这是韩
the
国的国
model.
师，也是亚洲
This
圣
is
贤文化
another
研究学者金
Korean
教授。
executive,
他在参观
Professor
完固德之后，
Kim, after visiting
他这
our
样子讲
plants,
到
he said,
吴董所做的
what
是
Mr.
对社
Wu
会问题的唯一
did
的解决办法和唯一的
is to
未来
provide
方向。
the only
同时
solution
金
for
教
the
授他
social
每个星
social
期啊会
ills
在韩国的国
of
家电视台
our world.
来讲述
And
圣
he
贤
gave
经典。那么
a presentation
他说他自己是
on
一个
the
哲学家，而
Korean
苏州固德
TV
你们已经在实践了。
He said
我
that
们一起来看一下
he
他在
wished
苏州固德
he was
的一个演讲。
a philosopher, but Buddha has already the one he wanted to do. He said, I should come here to learn. He's very humble. He said that he is only talking on this point, but our company is already practicing. This is the minister from Indonesia. After a day's visit at our office, he said, until yesterday, I thought Chinese cared only for money and money. But after a day's visit, you have opened up every office, every plant, allowing me to take a deep look. What you do has transformed my points of view on China. And before he left, he called Mr. Wu his own brother. For a Muslim, it's the highest respect he could pay to a foreigner. After that, he also expressed the wish that this model could be transferred to Indonesia. He also said he is willing to spend a month or even a year to study Chinese philosophy and Chinese culture. This is the president of 36th conference of UNESCO. He came to our plant in August last year. This is what she said.
So in a way we ourselves play as a role of a bridge between Eastern and Western philosophies and cultures. Mr. Wu, we have a say, we say small is beautiful, meaning something which is small can be as influential than something big. So for me, the most beautiful example and experience today was to see someone with so much talent to give this talent to the betterment to the other people. Because you, with your 2,500 employees and with your 2,000 happy children, have created an example which can be followed everywhere in the world. I have heard the words of His Excellency, the former Prime Minister of Japan, and also the religious leader from Indonesia, and they were talking about Asian values. I would say that we in the West tend to think very often that the best values we can find in the West. I never thought so. I always thought so that we have to look for all the values in the world, and then we have to combine and really make kind of in a new establishment of values. Because, for example, when I speak about the Buddha, I think about Jesus Christ. When I speak about Confucius, I can think about many philosophers in my own culture. So we can find the common grounds in these different philosophies. But the most striking example you have given us here during this half a day, I think, that for you, the importance is the person, the human being.
Each time we receive a foreign visitor, each time we exchange our views with Western scholars, we find that actually there's no difference between the East and the West. In many points, we have a common value, a universal value that transcends religion, nationalities. A month ago, we held a symposium between Chinese and German scholars. Professor Weber from Heidelberg University, professors from Tsinghua, from the Hong Kong Chinese universities, and scholars from Korean universities to compare Western and Eastern culture. We found out that we express things differently, but we have many common things. Professor Weber has also said that what good enterprise is doing is similar in many ways with what they are doing in Germany. And he appreciates the exploration that a Chinese enterprise is doing in creating a new mode of management to create a common value for the society. Next, I will speak on a partner. If there are 20 enterprises in China that try to run the company with an ancient Chinese value, it will set an example for the whole country and even abroad. And basing ourselves on this concept, we have built such a partnership. And in this photo, you see that our colleagues in the past year have transferred the 8 models that I have spoken of into their own enterprise. And within 1 year, positive results were obtained. This was a military industry in the past. State leaders have paid visits to this plant. The president of this enterprise thought that household chores are for women. It would be an insult for men to do this. After joining this partnership training, Mr. Wu told him to change his concept, that you should make a commitment to help your wife in the daily housework. And he actually did it. And he found it that it's not that difficult. And even in his office, he doesn't use a cleaner anymore. He will also lead employees to start planting trees around the plants. The biggest transformation for this gentleman is that most enterprises regard personnel as employees, whereas he saw employees as his enemies. In the past, he used to carry a bag. In the bag, it was hidden an electric baton to protect himself from attack from his employees. After joining our partnership training course, after knowing Mr. Wu, he said, I shouldn't treat my employees as enemies. After that, he undertook many measures to start caring for his employees, to regard them as family members. In 2007, we spent more than 10 million renminbi to implement a program. But it was not accepted by the employees. After transforming the mind of these employees, when these employees see that the president of the company is treating them as family members, in as short as a quarter, the sales figure have increased by a big margin. He has also said that he would also apply the same model in a failed factory in the southwestern part of China. He will collect more such cases, more such examples. This Japanese expert asked his institute to give him 3 more months, and he is sure that the Chinese plant will reach the same level as those that he sees in Japan. Within 1 year, he witnessed the transformation of the Chengde employees. This achievement all come from the teachings of the sages. Mr. Sheng is the president of a company in the province of Jiangsu. After learning the 8 modules of our training courses, he would do as Mr. Wu. He will also attend the week-long training courses. What are the results? In this picture, you could see these are the children of employees. They have come to the plants as volunteers. And these children proposed to Mr. Sheng that they should wash the feet of the mother of Mr. Sheng, as in the ancient custom. Mr. Sheng said, no, not to wash the feet of a mother, but the feet of your parents. Let's give a big applause to this Mr. Sheng.
事实上，我们看到，当我们在做一些好像跟生产经营没有关系的事情，我们花一些时间在承担社会责任，
undertaking activities not directly connected with production.
对国家而言，这是非常需要的。
This is much needed for the society, for the country, because these are activities of public interest. Today, we are talking of a Chinese-style management. Mr. Wu has said that the important thing is to first educate oneself, to move, to transform others. This is the tenets of our management. In the entrance, you will see these writings on the walls of our company, encouraging us that whenever there's a problem, we should ask, what was my personal responsibility in it, and not to blame others. We put the emphasis on cultivating oneself, run a family, and practice good governance.
为天地万物去用心付出。那么所有这些思想啊，其实我们非常的感恩我们的师长。
All these concepts, we are very grateful to our monk who let us know that education is the most important element. This is the vision of our company, which I would like to share with you. And that's why we spend time on talking to you on the topic from the teachings of sages to the setting up of a happy enterprise. This belongs not only to China, but it belongs to the entire humanity, for which we are grateful.
Thank you very much for this insight into life and work at Good Ark.